Hi everyone, welcome to this quick tutorial where we will walk you through how to bring a SketchUp file into Unity, customize it with materials and assets, add a simple interaction, and then export it into Spatial. Whether you're a designer, developer, or just exploring immersive spaces, this workflow will help you optimize your 3D models for interactive environments. Now that we have our SketchUp model built out, let's walk through how to import it into Unity. First, it's important to make sure that all objects in the SketchUp model are grouped correctly. Ideally, objects that share the same material should be grouped together. For example, if a block has a grass material applied, it should be grouped separately from other objects with different materials. This organization helps ensure that once the model is imported into Unity, you'll be able to edit each material independently without affecting unrelated components. Once this model is organized, go to File, Export, and then 3D Model in SketchUp. For the file format, choose FBX, as it works well with Unity. Click Export to generate the FBX file. Next, open your Unity project and navigate to the Scene tab, which is where you'll be editing your environment. To import the FBX file into your project, go to the Assets window, right-click, and select Import New Asset. Navigate to the folder where you saved the FBX file and import it. Alternatively, if you already have the folder open, you can simply drag the FBX file directly into the Assets window too. Once imported, your model will appear in the Assets folder, and to place it in the scene, you can again just drag it from the Assets window into the Scene view. With the model now in the scene, you can move and position it using the arrows to adjust along the X, Y, and Z axes. You can also right-click and drag in the scene view to change your viewing angle. This helps you inspect and align your model as needed. When you import the model, Unity also brings in the materials from SketchUp. These appear in the Assets window as small spheres with different colors and textures. However, by default, you won't be able to edit these materials directly in the Inspector tab. To enable this editing, select the model in the Assets window and click Extract Materials. Unity will then prompt you to choose a location for the extracted materials, and we want to create a new folder within the Assets directory. Once extracted, the materials become fully editable. Now that the materials are extracted, you can click on any of them in the Assets window and see their properties in the Inspector tab. From there, you can adjust features like color using the color picker or modify the metallic and smoothness properties to get the desired visual effect. The preview sphere at the bottom corner will show you how your adjustments look in real time. To apply material to an object in the scene, simply drag the edited material from the Assets window onto the object. The material will immediately apply, and you'll see it listed under the object's components in the Inspector tab. You can continue to adjust it there if needed. Next, we'll guide you through downloading and importing assets from the Unity Assets Store into your scene. First, navigate to the Window drop-down menu and select Asset Store. This will open the store where you can browse and download assets. You'll need to log in using your Unity account credentials to access your purchased or free assets. Search for an asset you want to use. You can use the filters to find only free assets. Once selected, click on Add to My Assets. From there, click on Go to My Assets to view all of the downloaded assets. Find the one that you wish to import into your project and click on Open in Unity. Finally, once you see this tab, click on Import, making sure that all boxes are checked off. Your asset will appear in the Assets folder within the Project tab. Note that models and materials are often separated when first uploaded. To use the asset, simply drag the model from the Assets folder into your scene. If needed, you can adjust its scale using the Inspector's Scale Factor option. Use the arrows to move the object or go to Transform Component to adjust its position. Drag materials onto objects without materials to apply texture. Continue downloading, importing, and placing assets into your Unity project to complete the scene. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to create a collectible item and set up a quest in Spatial IO. First, we'll create a prefab for the collectible stars and then import the star model. When we expand this triangle icon next to the imported file, we can see 3 elements. The FBX file is the actual 3D model. The material defines the appearance of the model, and the mesh is the geometry of the FBX file. Since we need the mesh first, we'll double-click the prefab and drag the mesh into it. Now we can see the stars in the scene. However, they look pink because there's no material assigned to it yet. So now let's create a new material for the stars and name it emission_yellow. We can first set the base color and emission color to yellow. If it's too bright, simply lower the emission intensity to get the desired look. Next, let's make the star more visually interesting by adding particle effects. Navigate to the project window, search for particle inside the assets folder. Then, with the Spatial.io starter package, it includes some particle effects, and we can copy one and paste it into our folder. We have to modify a few things. First, we can change the basic mesh to match our star. Then assign the emission_yellow material to that. Finally, we change the mesh and the white flash effect to match the star. Now the particle animation is almost ready, but we need to adjust its size. To do that, we set the start size to 1. If the model appears too small, we can increase it slowly to 5 or 8 and apply the changes. Once it looks good, drag this particle effect into the collectible star prefab. With the visuals complete, we can make the star collectibles now by adding an interactable component. Make sure to select the star mesh, not the root object and not the particle system. Click Add Component and select Spatial Interactable. You'll see 2 circles appear. The inner circle represents the interact radius. When the player enters this circle, they can interact with the star. The outer circle is the visibility radius, and this determines when the object becomes visible. Let's set these 2 values. We can set the interact radius to 2 and the visibility radius to 25. Now we'll define what happens when a player interacts with the star. We need to add 3 different events. First, we have to make the star disappear after collection. To do so, you drag the star into the event list. Choose Game Object, then set Active to False. This will hide the star once it's collected. Next, we have to trigger the particle effect. We can do so by dragging the particle effect into the event list too, and then we select Particle System to play. This will play the particle animation upon collection. Update the interaction prompt to press F to collect in the settings. That way this will appear every time we approach a star. And finally, we want to update the quest progress, but before we can add the quest event, we have to first create a quest. So we can create a new prefab and name it quest. Double click the quest prefab, select the root and add component, Spatial Quest. This component lets us assign tasks to players. For this example, we'll name the quest Explore the Map and Collect the Stars, and add a description of Collect Stars to get rewards. After you've done that, we can enable Start Automatically so the quest begins when the player enters the scene, and disable Tasks Are Ordered so that players can complete the tasks in any order. There are 2 different types of tasks in Spatial.io. The track task is used when collecting just 1 star will complete the quest, and the progress bar task is used when the player must collect multiple stars before completing the quest. And for our example, we'll use the progress bar task and set it to 5 stars. Now we can drag the quest into the scene so it exists in the game world. Afterwards, we can return to the interactable component and add the final event. Navigate from Quest Event to select Explore the Map, and then from Add Task Progress, choose Collect Stars. This ensures that each time a player interacts with the star, the progress increases. Finally, with everything that's set up, we can test the quest. First, duplicate the star prefab to create multiple collectibles. Place the 5 stars in the scene in your desirable positions, and click Test Scene and wait for it to load. Now that we have arrived in the scene, when we approach the star, the prompt says press F to collect. Upon collection, the star disappears, the particle effects plays, and progress updates. Because we've only collected one star, it's 1/5 complete. Once all the stars are collected, the quest displays a completion message. And that's it. We successfully imported a SketchUp file into Unity, customized it with interactions and assets, and finally brought it into Spatial.io. Thanks for watching and have fun creating your virtual environments.